Trying to figure out when kids develop character is an interesting, in a way, challenge, but it's also a very easy answer. We know that from the day children are born, they're actually learning from their parents, because from a caring, responsive adult, children learn what they know about the world starting from day one. So again, never too early to think about what kids are learning about the world around them and about the things that we consider to be good character in future years. So character development is a general term, and again, I've never met a parent who didn't think that it's something, yes, I want my child to have good character. But what we're really talking about are really core things to being able to interact with people and with the world, like honesty and compassion and fairness and generosity and things that we all care about. So why is it important? Because it's how we interact with each other and with the world, and especially in a world that's really gotten to be sort of, people would say somewhat self or selfie-centered and very technology-driven. The concerns are there that we actually are becoming less connected to each other rather than more, and these skills, the kind of character and social emotional skills, become even more important in that setting. So the survey that you're referring to is a national survey that Primrose Schools had done of parents across the country. And so what was interesting was, and again, not a surprise to me, was that 92% of parents felt that positive character traits were really important for kids to learn, especially in this sort of selfie-centered, technology-driven world that we're living in. But what was surprising to me, and I guess I can think about it and understand it, but what was surprising to me was that nearly half felt that preschool was too young to start sort of teaching social emotional skills. And again, social emotional skills being those sort of understanding others and emotional understanding and emotional intelligence. And that's striking to me because as a pediatrician, as a parent of 3 children, and also the former 10-year owner of an educational child care center, because I owned a Primrose School for nearly 10 years, the opportunity is immense in the first 5 years to really sort of intentionally make sure that we focus, both as parents and as early educators, on helping children, not just in their school readiness sort of academic skills, but focusing as much on who they become on the sort of character side as what they actually know from a factual standpoint. So, if you think about what is nurturing character, and again, I've told you it's from day one, a caring, responsive adult is the single most important thing that we know for young children in terms of what they're going to get. And, just like I'd say for parents, it's modeling these things, and it's reading books and talking and cooing and singing, reading books to babies. And then as kids get older, it's talking about perspectives and other people, and it's talking about honesty. It's doing things like teaching kids to be not just, please and thank you as a memorized skill, which is an important thing to have kids learn, but also a sense of gratitude and generosity. When you carry that over into the early education setting, what you really want to think of is who's going to be your partner in that mission. So you want to look first and foremost for a care setting where it's a nurturing environment, right? Because if it's not a nurturing environment, we know that babies' brains are socially gated. That it has to be a nurturing, caring environment. But there's also a real opportunity there to look for programs, and again, having 10 years of experience as a Primrose owner, looking at a curriculum that actually focuses on embedding how do you teach kids about perspectives, how do you help them identify not only their own emotions, but other people's emotions through books and activities and discussions, is a real opportunity. And you want to look to make sure, again, like I said, that the educational childcare setting you're picking isn't so focused on the reading, writing, arithmetic sorts of skills or pre-skills, but they also focus equally on these social emotional skills and how they can be developed in any care setting, including educational childcare. It's really the sorts of things I've been talking about, which are the, talking, cooing, singing, reading books to babies, I think is going to take on a hugely new level of importance to people. People love doing that with babies. I've written a book on newborns. I write children's books. People do that, but I don't know that parents understand that they're actually wiring a baby's brain for some of those important skills at the foundational level when they do it. So again, it's not that parents have to change those activities, but understand how important they are. And then as they get older, parents can take kids and do things, whether it's caring about, nature, it's caring about pets, it's caring for people other than themselves, understanding other people, doing things. One of my favorite activities, and again, I tell you this in the childcare setting, When I owned my center, we did a caring and giving event where it was a canned food drive, and every Primrose across the country, there's over 300 of them now, are doing this event where very young children are doing chores, so they get the feeling of how do you earn, right, what you're doing, and then they bring in their money and they talk about what other people need and what kids need for healthy food, and then they go on a field trip and they take, go to the grocery store. It was one of my favorite activities because it was this comprehensive, children feel it, live it, and they also get that sense of reward and happiness that we all hear about from actually doing things for others. The thing is, when you ask me what parents can do, well, parents can do that as well, but what I find today is, and again, there's millions of children in childcare today, parents wish they had time to do that, but I know that myself, as a physician, my husband's a surgeon, we had because we had 3 kids in 3.5 years. I actually felt guilty for not doing those things, not being able to take my kids out and do them. And when you find a partner that can help you with that, that's really important. So whether parents do it themselves or they find partners in the caregivers they choose for their children, focusing on those skills and making sure that those messages and those concepts are getting blended into a child's sort of education, I think will make the world a better place. Well, especially because I'm struck by the results of the findings of this national survey, those results, along with a lot of the brain science and what we know about early childhood and early childhood education's role, can all be found on the Primrose School website. So it's primroseschools.com/blog. So that's a great place. And for anyone who's interested, this is one of my passions now, and I've actually got a book coming out called The Toddler Brain, Nurture the Skills Today That Will Shape Your Child's Tomorrow, which will, again, reinforce those same sort of evidence-based, the neuroscience, what parents can do, what the milestones in the development of these skills look like. So I would recommend people go and look up some more of this information because I do not want any parent to miss this window of opportunity for their children in the first 5 years.